All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
All right, we are back again on the other side of the coin. We've got a blockbuster match coming up. I'm pretty sure everyone would have seen the press conference. If you haven't, it doesn't matter. We're going to recap some of that stuff anyway, talk a little bit about that. FA Cup semi-finals. This is huge. Manchester City, a team that I felt completely violated us in January, and I'm still in shock of that particular loss. On top of that, obviously the Arsenal one and the Leicester one and whatnot. But that one, I felt like they taught us a bit of a lesson. It just seemed like we weren't even part of that match at all. But before we get into all of the preview stuff, obviously we've got a massive panel on my disposal at the moment. I've got Taron, I've got PYS, I've got Conn. First of all, Conn, my man, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on once again, Miz. It's a pleasure to be on as always. How are you?
Brilliant, man. Yeah, and I'm going good, bro. I just watched the press conference. It's the month of Ramadan, so fasting, and it's peaceful, man. It's crazy. This month somehow just brings a lot of peace in the mind. I'm good, my man. PYS, how you doing?
I'm doing great as always. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the stream and looking forward to see what you guys think the lineup will be for tomorrow as well. And yeah, just really looking forward to the game as well because it's a big game. So yeah, I'm doing good.
Yeah, man, it's a huge game. There's no two ways about it. And obviously, we're going to do the lineup. That's going to be very interesting, what lineups we come up with. And we're going to talk about a few players that are out as well, so it's going to make the lineup a little bit more interesting. Taron, my boy, how's things?
Yeah, I'm really happy. Stuff's starting to open up in the UK now, finally. Like restaurants, obviously got fresh trim the other day. But yeah, happy to be on with some new panelists on the channel, obviously. And yeah, just excited to get into the match for you, Miss. Thanks for having me on.
Brilliant, man. The whole lockdown situation in London, it's easing. A lot of people seem to be very happy. I saw a lot of people getting haircuts, coming out from the barber shop, going in with full load of hair coming out all sharp and fades and whatnot, which is fantastic and great to see. Massive shout out to the live chat that have already tuned in, and they'll tune in down the track as well and watch it down after the stream as well. Shout out to Pre, shout out to Football Stars, shout out to Kiminator, Riz, all of these guys have joined in. We got Tim Howard, and he says, thank you for that, Tim Howard. We've got a lot of people joining in already, which is fantastic. AI Hive, Antonio Rudiger Hive. We're going to talk a lot about Antonio Rudiger for sure. Let's get straight into this. I'll go to you, first of all, people. I'm not sure if you've seen the press conference, but I found it quite interesting to know a little bit about the history behind Pep Guardiola and Thomas Tuchel. Obviously, they've played against each other in the Bundesliga. And, one of the things they started off saying in that whole press conference was that, how much of an influence was Pep Guardiola to Thomas Tuchel? And Thomas Tuchel was very, very humble. He was like, he's followed him since the Barcelona days. Obviously, at that time, Tuchel was in the academy in Mainz, and then he eventually got the Mainz job. And he was saying that he's always enjoyed, watching, Guardiola, the way he plays, the intensity without the ball. He talked about, the stuff without the ball being very, very important. I just want to ask you, POS, how important is it for an up-and-coming sort of new manager? Obviously, we saw someone like Frank Lampard, but for an up-and-coming new manager and the way football's sort of taking us down the track where it's becoming a lot more, if you want to succeed and be sustainable for the long run, you have to be very good possession-based football team. You got to be able to control the ball. And without the ball, you got to be able to counter-press and win the ball back straight away. How important is it for like an up-and-coming manager to sort of have Pep Guardiola and the likes of Tuchel as reference points to learn off them? And perhaps then you could probably have a successful career down the track.
Yeah, I think it's very important, obviously, because like the modern game is, as you said, more about possession. It's about quick attacks. It's about recoveries on and off the ball, high intensity. So I think a lot of managers aspire to be like Guardiola and Tuchel and other managers that have done it at the top and that are, just really good stylistically, good teams to watch. So I think, yeah, it is important, obviously, but it's also very hard. I mean, we saw Lampard try and play a sort of high intensity game with with lots of quick attacks. But I mean, in the end, it just ended up being a bit of a mess and just ended up like spam crossing, really. That's all I really saw from our games in the end. So it is quite hard to keep a certain style that the fans like as well for a sustained period of time. I mean, it's so difficult, but I think Tuchel is one that can do it. I genuinely believe that. And also, he's adaptable as well. I feel like you've got to find the perfect balance. So you can have this great game with all ball possessions and quick attacks and nice football and patterns that people like to watch, but there's also got to be a balance of pragmatism in there as well. Like we saw against Porto away, Tuchel just said, you know what? Even the players said it. Mount said it after the game. Mount said the job today was more about defensive first than worrying about what's going forward. And sometimes you need those games where you're going to be backs against the wall for whatever reason. Maybe the opposition put you in that way before you can put them in that way. So you have to have this element of pragmatism. And that's where I feel like Tuchel's doing a really good job here, because a lot of the players are used to three at the back. Like you've got the likes of Azpilicueta, Rudiger, Alonso when he plays. Kante has played in three at the backs before in midfield. So it's very interesting because like our squad's pretty much suited to three at the back, to be honest with you. We have the players on counter attacks, but then again, there's like we can also play really nice position football. So I think it's vitally important that any manager coming up tries to learn from these managers, and I think obviously that Tuchel learned a lot from Pep, and we see that in his game and what he's brought to Chelsea.
No, for sure, man. And I love I love a manager that's very humble. Do you know what I mean? They can look back and go, you know what, I learned a lot from this particular manager, and now they're trying to, try and emulate, but at the same time use their own flavor as well. Conn, I want to now go to you and talk to you about, it was another interesting question that was brought up in the conference. They were saying that Thomas Tuchel, obviously, when you last faced Pep Guardiola, it was in the Bundesliga. Obviously, Pep had Bayern. That was a unbelievable Bayern team that Pep was creating over there. The level of football they were playing was phenomenal. And they were saying that, obviously you started off with Mainz and then you had Dortmund. So it was never probably an even sort of balanced competition. And they were sort of asking him, now you got Chelsea, which is a very, very good squad. We must admit, even in the Champions League, if you look at it, the four teams that are remaining, we've got a very good squad to compete against all four, to be honest. Even though City are probably a few steps ahead of us in terms of their footballing abilities, because obviously Thomas Tuchel has recently taken over. But Conn, what do you think? Do you think the battle between Thomas Tuchel and Pep Guardiola would be a little bit more fairer this time, knowing that Chelsea, let's be honest, they're a bit better than what Dortmund team used to be when Dortmund was facing Bayern Munich?
I'd like to think so. Tuchel makes a team that nobody really wants to play against. He could be very problematic. He could be very stubborn. And we're starting to see that Chelsea where we can nick a goal and win a game 1 or 2-0, which we used to see under Conte and Mourinho. And yes, there's a lot more even matchup, but City are still heavy favourites, don't get that wrong. If they turn up on their best day, it's incredibly tough for us to get that win. But we've seen City, they've against United, not efficient enough, lost there. Against Leeds, not efficient enough, lost there. So we got a good chance now, and it's definitely a fairer match than BVB and Munich back in Bundesliga all them years back.
Yeah, absolutely, man. With as much as Dortmund were as good as or as competitive as they could have been, I think it's a bit more fairer of a challenge now with Chelsea. Taron, I didn't actually know this because I'm not a massive stats guy, but apparently Thomas Tuchel has not beaten Guardiola. They've apparently faced 5 times, I believe, or 6 times, and there's been no wins, a few draws, a few losses. Obviously, as I said to Conn, all of those matches were in the Bundesliga. Do you think this is it? This is his time to finally get that first victory over Guardiola. Stats are there to be broken, my man. Records are there to be broken. And could this be it?
100%. This is the game where Tuchel's in form. Tuchel's had, a very good run with Chelsea so far. I'd say they play quite similar styles of football, gegenpressing, winning the ball back after, I think it's 7 seconds, Straight away you see Man City players, Gundogan, De Bruyne, whoever's playing, whenever they lose the ball, they press, and then they kind of retreat back into their own zone if they don't win the ball back. So yeah, I think it's going to be a really interesting matchup. Obviously, you know how hopeful I am. I'm pretty confident that Tuchel will win that game. And yeah, I think the tactics are set up. You know, we've shown that we can, you know, drop into a low block as we showed against Porto. We can deal with tough games against physical opposition. And also when teams are trying to sit back against us, we can deal with that too. So I'm not really sure many sides in Europe who can kind of defend against. Maybe, you know, Bayern Munich, if they're Lewandowski, maybe that's probably the only team I'd think. Or PSG with Neymar and Mbappe maybe. But no, many teams have shown, you know, we beat Atletico Madrid over 2 legs. We beat Liverpool, who maybe it wasn't the best Liverpool team of many years, but still, they're still a good Liverpool team. There's Salah, Firmino, Mane. I believe Henderson was playing that game. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, we've beaten many different teams. So I'd say this is probably the biggest test of Tuchel so far, playing against probably the most informed side in Europe, I'd say, as in how they played the season. And it's quite interesting. After that Chelsea game that you mentioned earlier, Miz, at Stamford Bridge, that was when City started to gain momentum. When De Bruyne and Foden and whoever was playing that game absolutely ripped us apart in the first half. That was kind of a game where I realised that Lampard.
They were in the peak at that time. I think they were in the peak.
After that, they just kept winning games back to back. Ruben Diaz had an absolute insane run. John Stones got back to his A game. Foden started to come into his own as well. So hopefully we can get some really sweet revenge, because that game had me really, really upset after the full-time whistle. I believe Tuchel can do it. I have full faith in that manager now. He's a high-class manager. He's a world-class manager. And he set up these players in a system that's built to win games, you know. Be defensive at times, but also we pass the ball up. We're not a low-block team. We're defensive, but we also play nice football. So that's what I'm really happy about. I'm secretly confident of this game. And I don't want to eat my own words, but I'm hoping for a win on Saturday.
Yeah, man, I've got to be very confident as well, man. I'm looking forward to this match, and I feel like we can do a trick on them. I want to go to you, PYS, now. We'll obviously talk about the whole build-up to the game. I just want to cover a few more things about the press conference and then really look back at how, our history against Man City, especially this season. But PYS, they asked Thomas Tuchel another question, which was quite interesting. They said, even though we went through in the Champions League into the semi-finals, obviously we had that loss against Porto, which, look, I was so ecstatic. I was so happy that we went into the semi-finals, but that loss I fell flat after. I was like, man, we did not deserve to lose against Porto. We had them on the ropes all the time, and some crazy overhead kick just got them a victory right at the end. And the journalist was saying that, you know, is that going to have a negative impact at all? Like, how's that going to affect your team? And I loved how Thomas Tuchel said, nah, not at all. You know, we went ahead. At the end of the day, it's an aggregate score. We had the 2 goals in the first leg. Yeah, we lost in the second leg 1-0. But if you were to lose, that's probably the way to lose. Because if you're 2 ahead, you want to lose by 1-0. What do you think about that, man? Do you think the team might have any sort of residual value of losing against Porto? Or do you feel that, nah, you know what? At the end of the day, we went through and the team are very happy?
Yeah, I mean, the team will be very happy. We saw Aspie and Mason Mount on press conference after the game, you know, doing interviews. They looked really happy. So we went through. I mean, who cares? Like, they scored 90th minute. It's not like, you know what, we lost the game 1-0, but who cares? We went through. That's basically what Tuchel was implying. And it's true, you know. I don't think they're going to be too upset. Obviously, the only one that looked really angry was Mendy, because he'd want a clean sheet, and he was furious that went in. But
he was not happy.
He was not happy with the defenders, even though, like, there was nothing really that they could have done to stop that goal. But I think he was furious with someone in the back line, because he was shouting and everything. But at the end of the day, they're professionals. We all focused on tomorrow and trying to get to an FA Cup final. And this is the thing, I think, with this game in particular, it is almost like the FA Cup final to me. You know, I'm not saying that Leicester can't beat us on a one-off, but if we're playing Leicester, if we beat Man City in the final and we play Leicester or Southampton, I'm sorry, but 9 times out of 10 we're winning that game. So, like, this is the final for me. Like, this, like, if we win this, I'm going to be pretty gassed. Not going to lie, because, like, yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like
just give us the trophy. Just give us the trophy for this.
Tuchel will be, you know, in that dressing room saying, you know, this is. I'm pretty sure he will say this is basically like a final, because, you know, it is, like, it's as simple as that. So, yeah, I'm just really looking forward to see how the team plays, how we approach this game, and how it unfolds, to be fair, because even though Man City are really good, they're still beatable. Like, you know what I mean? They are still beatable. Man United always beat them. You know, Dortmund came
Leeds
close.
beat them just a moment ago.
You know, I know. I just, yeah, Leeds as well. I still think they're beatable. We just got to go at them
Yeah.
and just put them. We've got to scare them. If we let them have all the ball and we just sit back, then I can see them, beating us. But if it's sort of like 50-50 in terms of possession, then I can see us beating them. I really, really can.
No, for sure, man. I've been saying it all along since this whole match sort of started materializing that we can beat them. And I don't think Thomas Tuchel is a particular manager that likes to sit back and that likes to just invite pressure. He plays it the way it needs to be played, and I love it, man. Against Porto, we saw how we managed them. It wasn't as if we were parking the bus at all. We completely managed them, did not give them any opportunities, and we hit them on the counter. We hit them even with possession. We should have won that game, but that game's done. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Man City. Conn, I want to now build a bit of a history around this. First of all, shout out to 41 people that are on. Thank you so much for coming along and checking this preview out with the boys here. Please smash that like button straight away, and please follow all the panelists. All of their socials in the description right now. So do not hesitate. Go out there and follow them, each and every one of them. Conn, let's talk a little bit about the first meeting earlier this year, because for me, the Arsenal loss, Conn, was, man, that left a sour taste. I just felt like our team just didn't show up and couldn't care. And I felt very, very embarrassed after that. Leicester one as well, I felt, man, we did not show enough fight. But the Man City one, Conn, I wasn't even embarrassed. I was like, these guys are on a different level. Like, this is not fair. This is cheating. Like, we're playing against a team that's just way, way beyond us in footballing levels. How did you feel during that moment, Conn, when that match was happening? Those sort of feelings during that time, because I remember, Conn, you were quite vocal in the Chelsea community at that point. Nah, man, we Chelsea Football Club, that do a lot better. We got to rise up a lot more after that match against City.
To be honest, the City one, it hurt a little bit, but that Arsenal game killed me, man. It fully killed me, that Arsenal game. It's the most embarrassing game I've ever watched as a Chelsea fan. I'll stand by that. Like, the 6-0 City, the 1-0 City, the 4-1 Watford, that 4-1 Bournemouth. But for me, that Arsenal game, it really,
4-1 Bournemouth. Yeah,
it really ticked me off. And then you lose to Leicester, take that on the chin. I'm fuming about that, but I take it on the chin. And then City, it's just, you're right, it was just different class that day. And you're thinking, we really spent this much money to be this much worse, because last season we beat them. Last time we played them, we beat them, and we played quite well. We limited them to a few chances. I know Sterling hit the post, but other than that, and a De Bruyne free kick, we did really well. So I was like, what the hell is going on there? And I was fuming, because I know the players need time to gel, but you don't spend 200 plus million and get worse.
Yeah.
Especially that level of hurt, And a lot of people at the time got annoyed for me about speaking about it, which is fair. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and that don't bother me. But at that time, Miz, honestly, I could have headbutted the wall several times. Just
you wanted to change at that point. I remember you were like, "Nah, we need to change now, man. This can't just go on like this."
Because I remember, I think we had a conversation, and I was like, when we was drawn against Everton. No, when we lost to Everton, sorry, and we were just crossing it in when they had 4 centre halves. That's when warning signs started going in my head. And then when we got outclassed by City, lost by Arsenal, who are the worst run who I've ever seen, like, in the Premier League history. And then Leicester, bro, I just couldn't handle it. I wanted to, and when Tuchel come available, it's like Havertz. Everyone said Chelsea don't particularly need him, but because he's available, you have to get him. And I say the same thing about Tuchel, man. And he's the most important signing we've made this season.
Yeah, 100% agreed. I've said it a few times that a football club that has the manager as their most important component is a football club that's going to get much better. When you don't have the manager as your most important and you have certain players as your important, that manager ain't going to last too long, because you're really dependent on individual brilliance at that point. But when a manager is the focal point, they're going to create an atmosphere with high quality technical ability, good structure, just the way we're seeing right now. Taron, my boy, let's now, obviously, Man City beat us in our first particular meeting that we had this season. Since then, as you said, Taron, they've gone ahead and then really gone onto a massive streak. However, in recent times, Taron, we've been very, very good, bar that one loss against West Brom, take that away. However, Man United on the other side, they've started to creep a few losses in them. They've had that streak. They're still solid. I'm not going to lie. They're still a phenomenal team. But Man United showed how they can be very strong defensively and get them on the counter quick. Leeds showed as well, quick counter-attacking football right at the end from Stuart Dallas, a ball from deep. Can't remember who it was, releasing Stuart Dallas with the clinical finishing. Do you feel, and this is the exact way we kind of beat them last season as well, with Pulisic doing a madness. Conn would remember that match like yesterday. How Pulisic absolutely devastated them. Do you feel that might be the way to beat City, where City are generally a team that like to handle the ball a lot. They like to keep the ball, and if we counter press without the ball, and this is the other thing that I actually want to talk to you about. Thomas Tuchel in the press conference said that one of the most important things between Pep Guardiola and him now, the way they manage, is the intensity without the ball. Yeah, you're great with the ball, which is fantastic, but what can you do without the ball? How quickly can you win back the ball? How quickly can you put the pressure back onto the opposition? Do you think that's probably going to be a big factor on which team dominates here? Without the ball, how quickly can you rattle the opposition?
Yeah, if you let De Bruyne, Foden, Mahrez, Jesus, Rodri, even Gundogan have time on the ball and you don't counter-press them effectively, they're going to dominate the game. De Bruyne's going to pick out, the pass he did against Leicester where he split open the whole defence, and then Jesus scored from that goal. You can't let these Man City players have time. If Kovacic was playing, I'd say he would have counter-pressed really effectively. But I believe Kante and Jorginho can actually do that job quite well. They can stop De Bruyne and Foden if they do man-mark them at times. Jorginho, really, I've seen at times where Jorginho is almost pressing really high up the pitch, like he's man-marking the other CDM at times. I'm not sure what that is about Tuchel, but I've realised that. I believe Jorginho is probably the most, I say he has really good football knowledge, one of the best football brains at our team, so he knows to press the game quite well. But yeah, I do believe in terms of winning the game, the tactics we need to be. We've seen Man United, what they did to beat Man City. They just counter-attacked twice. They played Luke Shaw. I believe they only had 3 men in the box at the time. Luke Shaw drove into the box and scored on the counter. Leeds with Stuart Dallas. I feel like the main area of Man City's attack is their fullbacks. Cancelo, I'm not taking anything away from him. He's a great attacking fullback. He's great crossing the ball. He actually makes inverted runs into the box. He plays almost like a central midfielder at times. But when you are attacking Cancelo, he's quite poor defensively. Along with Alexander Zinchenko, he's quite poor defensively as well. So if we can get Pulisic, to drive at Cancelo or Zinchenko, we can get Mason Mount to drop in between the half spaces, turn, get Zinchenko out of the game. And then it'll just leave Ruben Diaz versus, 2 or 3 players. Ruben Diaz is a very, very good defender, but we saw he got broken by Marco Reus and Haaland against Borussia Dortmund at the Etihad Stadium. He didn't play in the Leeds game, actually, but against Man United, I thought he had quite a poor game. He made a few blocks, but he was just overloaded by more Man United attackers. So for me, it's about, a fine balance between possession football. I'm not saying, like PYS said, that we need to sit back in our own box and just counter them like before. That was the old manager's tactics between Lampard. We saw Lampard in the 3-1 game in Stamford Bridge. He really tried to come out Man City. It did not work at all. We committed so many bodies forward and left Thiago Silva Aspie exposed, and De Bruyne and Foden had absolute field day. We saw the pass by Kante into Sterling. It literally left Sterling with a 1-on-1 chance against Mendy, which he really couldn't miss. De Bruyne scored. So for me, it's about balance. We can play possession football, but when we're dropping into a low block, when they're coming at us, then that's when you release Pulisic and Havertz. That's when you release all of these players, to punish them like we did before. So yeah, we don't sit in a low block. We don't go all out attack. But I believe in Tuchel to find a good balance in the system. He's going to have 4 days on the training ground to work on this. A lot more than we've had recently. We've had 2 days, with 1 day off. So maybe even 1 day to work on it. So for me, it's about a fine balance. And Man City are there for the taking. I'm telling you, you can exploit the wing backs. You can get Diaz 3v1 and you've got an easy goal. For me, it is a winnable game, like I've said.
No, for sure, man. A lot of the live chats giving you heat, Taron. They think Cancelo is very good at defending. Omar doesn't seem to agree. Ben Hur doesn't seem to agree. But I understand what you mean. If there is a weakness, it's probably on the flanks, because Diaz and Stones are quite strong. But look, on a given day, anything can happen. PYS, I want to now talk to you because I know this is your man. Kovacic is your man, and he is out for 3 weeks. PYS. how much of an issue can this pose to us over the next 3 weeks? Because we've got games coming out left, right, and center, man. I believe every 3 days, 3 or 4 days, we've got a game happening. Obviously, we've got City, then we've got Brighton, I believe Tuesday night. Then we've got West Ham on the weekend, and then straight away Real Madrid. What do you think, man? The loss of Kovacic, is that going to be huge, or do you feel Billy Gilmour somewhere gets some minutes?
Well, first of all, I don't know whether it's actually going to be 3 weeks like the rumours have been saying, because Tuchel did say in the press conference that he's already feeling better. So I'm not quite sure where this whole, like, I know I've seen someone reported like 3 weeks and stuff, but it's not been confirmed by like Tuchel. When Tuchel was speaking, he wasn't speaking like Kovacic was going to be out for 3 weeks. So I don't think he'll be out for that long, but I think he will miss, well, he is missing tomorrow, and I think he'll miss Brighton as well. But I think after that, he might be back. So I think it might only be like a week or something. I think if it was any more serious, he would have said. But if he is out for 3 weeks, then I've already said, like, we're screwed, because I just don't think Kante can play. Kante can't play all the time. Gilmour and Jorginho really doesn't have any sort of defensive, awareness for me anyway. Like, I think we just get overrun all the time. I don't know. I just don't see any. I don't see how that pivot works, to be honest. Even against Barnsley, I think they played together, and Barnsley were all over us. So I mean, I do believe in Billy Gilmour. Obviously, he's a good player, but to throw him in this sort of stage of the season, if Kovacic is out for 3 weeks, is a big ask. We'd really be more asking for Kante to play consistent games, which he's shown over the past sort of year or so that he can't really do. He's getting older, and he seems to pick up more issues and things and injuries. So I will be quite worried if he's out for that length of time. But I just hope he's not, because he's such an underrated player in our squad, man. I'm telling you, he's vital for the way Tuchel plays. With the pressing, with the counter press, with getting out of the press as well. Like, he's dribbling, and people say he can't pass as well, but the guy has really good passing. Like, I'm not trying to hear he doesn't. Like,
but I can't believe people say Kovacic can't pass.
Bro, it's ridiculous. Some of the passes he's played under Tuchel have been fantastic, and he's getting better at the progressive passing now. Like, I'll give it maybe like under Lampard, like he'd pass sometimes sideways or just go out wide, but really now he tries these punchy passes or long passes into our forwards, which something that I've noticed different in his game. So I don't see really a weakness in Kovacic's game. Maybe defensively sometimes he's not the best, but then again, he's really good at tackling. So I don't know, man. Like, I just think he's a really all-rounded player. Like, sometimes you get caught out of position. That's the only thing I'd say. But in terms of like tackling and stuff, he's brilliant. So we are going to miss him, especially tomorrow, I think. But I don't know, man. I just hope it's not 3 weeks, obviously, because I do think he's vital for us.
No, you're absolutely right, man. When I first heard about the 3 weeks, I was like, whoa, I don't know if Kante can play game in, game out. And also Jorginho, whether he's suited every single game. As much as I love Jorginho, honestly, I do. And he's been fantastic. He probably needs to be, dependent on, horses for courses kind of situation. But then again, that match against Porto made me realize that he's probably suitable for any sort of situation. But yeah, man, hopefully you're right. Thomas Tuchel didn't say anything about 3 weeks or anything, but he kind of gave an indication that he's probably going to be out for the next couple of games. Conn, I've never actually heard from your perspective. I know I hear a lot of things about Pulisic and whatnot, but from your perspective, in the midfield, I mean, not having Kovacic for the next few games, especially this game as well. Are you confident that, players like Kante and Jorginho, they had an epic game against Porto. They really, really defensively, they worked real hard. And we know how Kante is these days, man. Like, he's got that injury niggle here and there almost every time. And you feel like this is another intensive match that's coming up against Man City. Are you one of those ones that would possibly give Billy a chance here? Or you're thinking, nah, man, this is way too big for Billy at the moment?
In regards to Kova, I think he's Chelsea's unsung hero under Tuchel. I think he's a massive miss out of the three midfielders, the senior ones anyway. He would be the last one right now to want to be injured. But yeah, I've seen like the rumours about the 3 weeks, but I don't think it's going to be 3 weeks either. But it's definitely going to be 2 games, I feel. And with Billy, I wouldn't play him against City, but maybe against Brighton.
Yeah.
Just because if Kova's not back from Madrid, you don't want to risk N'Golo playing 3 games straight because we know he can pick up an injury. So if that happened and we had to play Billy against Madrid, then we'll have problems. Toni Kroos, Modric against Billy.
Billy Gilmour versus Casemiro. You feeling confident?
I rate Billy, but I don't think he's up to that step yet. Do you know what I mean? So it's just a horrible time for any injuries, really, especially in that centre mid, because we just don't have much depth there. So I'd probably give Billy that chance against Brighton. We need to rest somebody in that game, but you never know. Kovacic, the warrior he is, might be back for Brighton, so this just could all be for nothing. But yeah, for me, I would definitely start. Well, not definitely, but if I had to, I'd definitely play Billy against Brighton.
Yeah, no, that's a good shout, actually. Billy against Brighton is something I can live with as well. Him alongside maybe a Jorginho, could be nice, in terms of experience and someone to sort of guide the youngster. And Brighton is a team where I feel like Billy, he should be. I mean, we've seen his class last season against Liverpool and Everton. It was Liverpool and Everton, I remember. Yeah. I think it was against Leicester in the FA Cup where he had a bit of a shocker. But we've seen his class, that he's good enough. Let's talk about another player that is out. Maldini's middle finger, thank you so much. Thank you to 56 people that are on live right now. Thank you heaps for joining. Honestly, do appreciate your support. Maldini's middle finger brings out the other particular player that is out for this particular match. Why is Christensen always out for big games? It's a loop. How can he be a number 1 defender anytime in the future? Taron, look, I've got to say this about Christensen. I love the guy. What he's shown under Thomas Tuchel has given me a new belief that, maybe there is a good defender in him that could be a long-term, future in Chelsea. But these injuries, bro, I mean, I really thought that maybe he was behind it. He's left it, but he keeps getting these niggly injuries. He at times feels a bit sick just before a big game as well. Not in this occasion. I think he's genuinely, not fit. It's very unsettling when you're having a good run and then you're away for 2-3 games and then you have a decent run, then you're away. Like, you want to have your centre backs, especially when Thiago Silva has gone and now he's sort of come in and looks like Thiago Silva is once again, he's going to take that position and completely own it. And then once again, Christensen's probably going to be in the backbench when he was really doing well. What do you feel about this particular player? Has he got a future with Chelsea, or do you think, nah, man, I mean, if you're going to be a serious defender, you've got to be available all the time?
Well, for my opinion, he came in against Spurs. He hadn't played many minutes in a long time under Lampard, start of Tuchel's era, and he put an absolute blinder against Tottenham. He came in against Liverpool at Anfield. He had an amazing game. He played the first leg against Atletico. He was, spotless. He played the game against Man United. He was amazing as well. So he has performed in some big games. So you can't say, every big game he's injured. But for me, you can't help injuries. That's always what I say. Pulisic, we wish he could play every game as well, but his body isn't built to play every 3 days. Same with Christensen. But when I want a central defender, I want a defender who can play 38 games a season. I know it's hard to ask, and you can't predict injuries. But I'm used to the likes of John Terry, Gary Cahill, Ricardo Carvalho, all these other big defenders. I'm used to these players. So as a Chelsea fan, we have high expectations. It's similar to the striker conundrum because everyone wants a big, really physical. He doesn't take anything to strike at Chelsea. We've had Drogba, we've had Diego Costa. So we instantly expect a striker who's going to, bully defenders, be an absolute nuisance out front. So when it comes to, some players we have now, like Abraham and Werner, we're kind of like, we're not kind of what expecting. So I think it's similar with Christensen that, he's not as strong, he's not as physical, he's not a commanding gladiator like John Terry was. But in his defense, I've seen, a big improvement from Christensen under Tuchel. He's actually shown that his aerial duels have really improved. He looks more physical going into challenges. He's not really being scared. Like when he's 1-on-1 with a player, like for example, Mikel Antonio last year. This season, he's been 1-1 with Suarez on many occasions, with other big strikers, and he's really proved himself as a big improved player in this system. So I'm not really sure if it's down to system, if it's down to the manager's, words in his ear saying, I believe in you or this and that. But I have seen enough from Christensen to merit him starting more. I've always said that, if he is fully fit, I really want him to start most games. I think he's a very good reader of the game. I think he's very, very composed, a good ball progressor. And he seems like he's at age now. He's 25 now, I believe. He's getting into his prime. So hopefully his injuries don't continue because when he's on his game, I think he's actually a really good defender. And in this system, it really suits him.
No, 100%, man. Subrajit Jyoti Roy has said, I wish everyone had Mount's level of availability. 100%, man. I mean, many people, especially Matisse, I'm sure you guys will know who Matisse is in the Chelsea community, keeps saying, availability is a skill set in itself. Do you know what I mean? It's very, very important to be available. Conn, I need to talk about this player because I feel like every time I brought you in, either Pulisic has been injured or he hasn't been in the team, but now it's in a particular time where he's on an upward trajectory. And that match against Porto, I did a video and I had to shout him out saying that the amount of punishment he took in that game, he took it for us fans, and ensured that we went into the semi-finals. And I had to shout him out and say, man, that I appreciate all of that stuff that he had to take against Porto because every fan appreciates that. And he's honestly, you can see that level is slowly coming back how he was last season post-lockdown. What's your thoughts? Obviously, you feel very highly about it. You're emotionally attached to Pulisic just the way I'm attached to Ziyech. But what do you think about his progress so far in the latter parts now and how important he's going to be? And do you start him against Man City?
Well, it's no surprise Pulisic's coming into this form. We've seen it from him before. Just want to shout out to every clown who said a month ago we should sell him. I don't see people saying that anymore. So shout out to you guys. For once, just give it a bit of time before being so reactionary. But anyway, against City, it's tough.
It's a message from Conn.
I don't know against City because you want him to play. But after the Porto game, would it be a smart thing, So your heart's saying you want to play, like you want him to play, but your head's saying it's probably best to start Timo. And to be honest, Timo, he needs to give us something. Yeah. Even if it's an assist or something against City, he needs to provide something. And he's fully fresh. He's barely played in the last couple of games. So start him against City. If we need Pully, bring him on. But if we can avoid that, even better. And we've got Ziyech as well. Hudson-Odoi, all players who can play out wide. So I don't think it's like we necessarily have to start Pully. But when he's on this form, you just want to see him play. It's like, I'm not comparing him saying he's as good as Hazard, but he gives you that kind of vibe where you enjoy watching him. And you just want to see him play.
You know what? I said it. I tweeted this today, right? Maybe a few hours ago. I said, and it's a bit of a bold statement. And I'm not comparing him with Hazard or anything like that. Hazard was just phenomenal. To get to that level, you got to show consistency, right? So I'm not comparing. But I did say this, Conn. If we get Pulisic fit for one whole season, an entire season, fit, no injuries, nothing, he's available all the time, I reckon we win the league, bro. I reckon this guy helps us win the league. He's got that X factor like none other in the league, bro. He can single-handedly win you matches. We saw what he did against Liverpool last season when we were getting battered post-lockdown and literally came outside, off the bench and almost dragged us to a victory. It was to a point where I was thinking, oh my God, this guy's just going to win it single-handedly here by himself. Hadn't it been for a few, other missed chances and whatnot. I mean, is that how you feel as well, Conn, that if this guy is fit for the whole season, that it could turn out to be something incredible?
I think you're spot on. He's our best attacking player. Well, actually, period. He's our best player, period. Everyone said it at the end of last season. I don't know why they have to switch it up just because certain players come in and out of form. Keep it consistent. And there's no player in our team like Pulisic. He's very efficient when he's on form. Left foot, right foot. His final pass is very good. He can slow the game down like we saw against Porto. He can bring a lot of pressure off us. He's really he's just the full package, what you'd want from a winger. And if we have him fit for a full season, we wouldn't be in a top 4 battle if he was fit all season. Yeah, that's for sure.
No, man, agreed 100%. I reckon we'd be absolutely just behind, Man City and breathing down their neck and taking that position if Pulisic is fit for the whole season, man. And I do pray that this player stays fit next season at least. PYS, I need to talk about this opposition player. Let's talk a little bit about the opposition now before we get into the predictor lineup. Shout out to the 81 people logged in right now live. Smash that like button. Follow my panelists on social media. Their socials are in the description right now. Go them, follow them on Twitter, podcasts, all of that. Just do all of that stuff right now. PYS, man, I am slowly, look, there's not many times I fall in love with, I wouldn't say fall in love. Not many times I kind of admire opposition players, PYS. I'm starting to admire Phil Foden, man. I think Phil Foden, he's got the lot, man. I feel like Phil Foden is England's best youngster at the moment. Moving forward, England obviously going to go to the Euros. They need to somehow have a team built around him and Mason Mount and Sancho and whatnot. Man, Phil Foden, his trajectory this season is on the upwards. Another one of those players just absolutely gunning it. What do you think about his sort of mentor, like his guidance under Pep Guardiola and his growth this season? And do you feel like he's probably one of the biggest threat? Obviously, let's not forget KDB is always a threat, but this particular player is a huge threat for us.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, he's got the perfect manager to keep developing him. I mean, he's had to wait his time, to be fair. Like, not a lot of people remember, but quite a lot of City fans were like saying, "Oh, why isn't Foden playing?" Like a little while ago, like a few months ago, especially last season. But Pep, you know, he sort of like benched him and was giving him sort of like sub minutes, and then all of a sudden he's like a starter for City, and he just 100% deserves it. I mean, he's got the perfect manager. He's a fantastic player. One you really just don't want to see at a club like City. Like, you prefer him just to be out of our league. He's that good. Honestly, I rate him so highly. The goal he scored against Dortmund was ridiculous. Ooh. Like, the guy's an animal, man. he's only 20 as well. Like, it's the same with Mount. Like, I think Mount's obviously a bit below Foden, but they're the same sort of player where they're getting better at attacking. The consistency is very good. Obviously, they're both very young. They're intelligent. They're good at dribbling. So I think for England it's exciting, but for Chelsea fans it's not, obviously, because we've got to face him tomorrow. And as you said, I mean, I think Foden and KDB are the main threats for me. I mean, Mahrez on his day scares me as well, especially against Chilwell if Chilwell plays, because Mahrez has given Chilwell a horrible time before. Yeah, I mean, I am scared of what City bring, but again, if we're at our game, of course we can make it difficult for them. Of course we can win. We can beat anyone on our day. We have to believe that. And I genuinely do believe it. It's not like blind faith or anything. I do believe we can beat them, but nullifying their threats is going to be very hard. And we have to play the perfect game tomorrow. There's no two ways about it. You can't. This is not going to be one for me where we're going to, shithouse it or anything and get lucky. I don't. Tuchel was talking about we need a bit of luck, but I don't think you get. I don't know. I don't see City missing so many chances. You know what I mean? They're very, very clinical. Like, we're going to have to be incredible defensively. Like, especially in midfield as well. The midfield is going to have to be on point. We're going to have to win all the duels. Like, it's going to have to be the perfect game, as it honestly is.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. In terms of a Chelsea fan, I'm looking forward to it and also dreading it at the same time. But we're going in. We're also going. We've got to go in.
Bro, you got me scared now, man. All along I was confident. Now I'm a little bit scared after the speech that you've just given me.
I don't think you can be confident. I really don't. Like, we're in a good moment, but City are pretty much, for me, them and Bayern are the best teams in the world. So, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. But look, let's see what the lineup is. Let's see how we approach the game, how the first sort of 20 minutes go, because that usually sets sort of the tone for the game, how it's going to pan out. You know, who's defending the most, who has the ball the most. So, yeah, really hard to predict. Tuchel said in the press conference as well, he didn't say you can't really predict it, but he was sort of hinting at it, whereas like he was sort of saying they're both going to be very high intense teams. It's going to be playing field, and we'll see what happens. He said if we lose, we take it as a learning curve, but obviously we're going out there to win. So it's nice to have a manager that truly believes in us. And I loved it when he said we're going to hunt City down from the first day of next season. Like, that just got me excited.
I love it, man. That's so well said. And he said it, just like you said, we got to be on point in this match. He said any lapse of concentration, that's it. Over. You got to be on point every single time. I'll just take this quick question here. It's been popping up by a few people. Football Style, thank you for this question. Miz, I have a question. Is Mount better than Foden? I think you heard it from our man PYS, and I agree with him. look, Mount is a phenomenal player, and he's going to be an even better next season. I've got massive predictions for Mount that he's going to be challenging for perhaps. If we are challenging for the title next season, I think Mount's going to be a massive, massive factor alongside with Pulisic. But with Pulisic, the biggest thing is that if factor in the sense of being available and being fit. But Mount, if his availability, we know that hopefully he stays fit. I think he can be there for Player of the Season as well. Like if the way he's growing under Thomas Tuchel, week in, week out, next season, I've got no doubt that he can be very, very good. But right now, football style, I don't think he's better than Foden, man. I personally think Foden's a step ahead at the moment. And this isn't any disrespect to Mason Mount at all. It's just how good Foden is. Before we go into the predicted lineups, I just want to quickly go to Taron as well. Taron, PYS kind of scared me. I was all confident, but then he was talking about Mahrez. For a second, I don't know why I forgot about the whole City team is devastating. Mahrez, Foden, KDB, Bernardo Silva. Obviously, they still got Aguero and Gabriel Jesus, as you've mentioned earlier. They've got Fernandinho, Rodri. Sorry, they got a lot of players. Sterling. We have to be our back three and the double sixes have to be on point. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. If we're not, like, POS play perfectly, if we're not on our A game, then this team will punish us 100%. The way they interchange positions is amazing. They can play Bernardo Silva, they can play De Bruyne, they can play Foden, they can play anyone they want in them two cameras, and Rodri's kind of that, destroyer of the ball and enforcer. I just wanted to bring up a point on Billy Gilmour that commented earlier. Billy Gilmour actually destroyed Fabinho, so I don't know why he can't do it to Casemiro, but that's not relevant to the whole point. But Man City will definitely be a really, really challenging game. There's no doubts about it. Man City have been electrifying since that 3-1 game against Chelsea. They have a fine balance between defence and attack. I think Pep Guardiola's mastered it this season. I really think he has. He's finally got the best out of Foden. With Foden, I feel like it was 3-4 years Foden's been on the bench of this Man City team, working with Guardiola on the training ground every single day. He's learning what Guardiola wants of him, what he needs to do to break into his team. As soon as David Silva moved on, Foden kind of came in and replaced David Silva. And what a job he's done at this club. Must say, this season, Foden's, Mason Mount's had such an amazing season. And we're obviously 4 really biased Chelsea fans, and we're still saying Foden's been better than Mount. That's just how good Foden's been. But yeah, Man City game is the winnable game, but it's going to be tough. And obviously, we need to be on our game. Kante needs to be, breaking up players as well as he usually does. He needs to be counter-attacking well. Jorginho needs to play how he did against Porto during the week. Obviously, our front three, Havertz needs to be on his game. Rudiger needs to be here on his game. All these players need to be on their game, and I feel like we could get a result.
Yeah, man, I feel like it as well, that we can definitely get a result. But yeah, as both you, PYS, and Conn said, that we need to be absolutely concentrated in this match, or else we're gonna struggle again. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the time that you guys have all been waiting for. Let's get into the lineups. I think this is going to be a very, very exciting sort of segment right now, talking about these lineups. Let's just look at it in this particular view. Taron, my boy, let me know if whenever you need to go, and obviously, we can look into that. But you wanna go first. I'll let you have the first few players at the back, and then we'll let you leave, and then I'll continue with POIS and Conn. Taron, there has been a few shouts. Nishal obviously threw a spanner the other day in the review, and there's actually quite a few people that kind of believe this a little bit. And I want to get PYS and Conn's take on it down the track as well. Who's going to be your keeper? Is Kepa getting an opportunity because he's been playing in the cup and then going with the sort of? I suppose you've been the cup keeper, so you get to play, or do you sort of say that, nah, man, this is serious now? We need to make sure that we get into the finals and win this. Do you plug Mendy?
Listen, 100% understand Kepa's stake of being in this team. Obviously, he's been our cup goalkeeper this whole year. We need to get his value up for the transfer window. We need to give him minutes and, get his confidence up before he can hopefully leave this summer. But, in my opinion, I don't think you can look past Edouard Mendy for this game. It's a huge game against Man City in the semi-finals. Whether they play Zach Stefan or not, I don't really care, to be honest. I want our strong goalkeepers commanding from crosses. Who, did you see the way Mendy ran up in front of Rudiger, when Rudiger was about to fight with the Porto player? Mendy, this guy is literally everything I want in a goalkeeper. He's good with his feet. You know, he's composed. He's great at claiming crosses. He's really confident. He's a good leader. He's a great shot stopper, great reflexes. Maybe just sometimes he kicks the ball out of play. But apart from that, I think he can look past Mendy. I think he's going to be so important in being confident and stopping Man City from, you know, dominating us in their attacking third. So for me, I understand Kepa. And, you know, I'm a big Kepa fan after the Europa League antics that he did for us. But for me, you know, he can play against Brighton or something like when Tuchel threw him in against Newcastle. For me, this is such an important game. I'm a trophy-hungry guy. I want to win as many trophies as possible. So for me, I want... Yeah, man. Come on, you know how it is. I want Mendy in goal, and he'll hopefully help us.
We're not a sentimental club. Oh yeah, he'll give you minutes.
I'm not
man.
a sentimental
we're not
guy.
Minutes FC here. We're not Minutes FC.
You know, we're not Arsenal, man. We're Chelsea. We need the best players all the time. So yeah. I want to win a trophy. I want to win the FA Cup.
No, for sure, man. We'll keep Mendy. Obviously, I'll go to PYS and Conn very, very soon. I'll just get the back three, and I'll let you go, Taron. Who's in your right centre back position? It's interesting. A lot of people have been throwing the spanners into the work for Reece James to be given a go there. Obviously, his reading of the game is quite good. He's a great ball carrier. He can, you know, in Aspie to ping their balls into Morata and Costa, you know, driving out. Reece James can do that very well. But, you know, Azpilicueta's been, you know, 7.5s every single game for us. Every game, bro.
Every game he's been doing. Every game he's been doing so well. I haven't picked out many faults, even against West Brom. I'd say he's probably one of our best players on the pitch. So for me, we need.
You know what? He's got to be on point against Sterling and Foden and all those guys, bro. You know, whoever is playing, I think it'll be Sterling that he's going to have to look out for. I mean, he's done the job on Sterling a few times, but Sterling also has made him look a bit ordinary at times. But yeah, go on, my man.
There's been a few occasions where Sterling's kind of, you know, destroyed Aspie. And I don't want to bring this up, and I believe one of the lads brought up earlier, but the 6-0 game, Azpilicueta had an absolute stinker in that game, and also the 3-1 Sterling had a bit of a field day, obviously, in that game. But yeah, Aspie is 100%, you know, one of the first names on the team sheet, in my opinion. He's the Mr. Consistent captain leader Spaniards. You can't look past Azpilicueta.
Now, for sure, man. In the middle, I mean, is this even a discussion with Christensen, who's not fit? But then again, there is Zuma, or you're sticking with Thiago Silva straight up?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Silva, but I can see why Zuma's in. It's actually a lot closer than what people were saying about Silva has to be in. I think Zuma is actually very, very good in that role. I mean, obviously, nowhere near as good as Thiago Silva, but he's played very well against Atletico, very well against who's a team he played recently? I'm not quite sure. That doesn't really matter. But yeah, Zuma's
recently played against Palace, I think.
Yeah, Palace in the middle. That's it. Yeah, he did a really good job against Benteke and Zaha in that game. So yeah, Zuma's done very well. But Silva, we need his composure. We need his leadership. Silva's won many trophies. He's won the Coupe de France. He's won all the big trophies, the Ligue 1 with PSG. So for me, Silva is a must. He played quite well against Porto as well. So yeah, for me, Thiago Silva.
100%, I agree. You know. The only thing is, look, I don't think Silva really had to work that hard against Porto because it felt like he was very comfortable in the middle. It wasn't like he was running around heaps. So for me, probably Silva. Zuma is a good shout for sure. I mean, this one, bro, you know what? Nah, I'm not even asking you, bro. This one's, I'm taking that, bro. This one's my player, bro, really. For me, I don't care what PYS or Conn says about this. Rudiger 100% starts. He will start. And obviously, I'll get their opinion, no doubt. But yeah, so far, the back three looks nice to me. I will obviously go to PYS and Conn very, very soon and get their thoughts. But Taron, my man, thank you so much for your time, for joining and making this effort to come down. We've got 122 people logged on right now. Please, straight away, follow my boys here, follow PYS, follow Conn, follow Taron, all of their socials in the description right now, and smash the like button if you're enjoying this preview. And obviously, we're going to continue with the lineup, but Taron, thank you so much for your time, my man.
Thank you. See you guys. See you, Conn and PYS.
See you, man.
All right, Conn, let's go to you now, man. I want to talk about a bit about Mendy. Conn, there was some shouts about Kepa getting some opportunity here because of him being the cup sort of keeper. Do you entertain this discussion at all, or it's straight up Mendy?
Bro, I know Tuchel likes his rotation, bro, but come on. Come on, he's not starting. That's not happening, is it? Mendy's in goal 100% against City, without a shadow of a doubt.
Absolutely. I agree as well, man. PYS, Any entertainment at all with Kepa? Or nah, man, this is ridiculous talk.
Nah, like for me, Kepa doesn't start another game this season, so for me it's Mendy 100%.
Bro, how are we going to get rid of Kepa if he doesn't start? But we need to showcase him.
Just put him on loan or something, man. I don't care. Like, no, we have to start Mendy every game if he's fit. Like, it's too important of a season, man. Have to start Mendy.
No, for sure. Conn, you happy with the back line? Is that the back line that you'd go with, or you'd change things around a little bit?
No, spot on. Exactly what I'd go with.
PYS?
That's the back line I'll do as well.
Brilliant. All right, let's go to Conn now with the right wing back. Any shout for Callum Hudson-Odoi, either this position or up front, or you're sticking with Reece James here, Conn?
I think we have to go with Reece here. I love Cho. I think he can do a job at right wing back, but against City, you want the player who's better defensively, and that's Reece James.
Yeah, and obviously with their sort of threatening wingers that they have, you want someone physical like Reece James to really put a stamp on the match and tell them that you ain't going nowhere. PYS, do you kind of agree with this, or you'd want to see Callum to sort of put a spanner against City to say, you know what, we're going to attack with Callum, so let's see how much you attack us?
Yeah, this is hard for me because it just depends what Tuchel does in the front line. Because I don't know, we'll get to it, but I would play Reece just because I want to make a change in the front line. So, yeah, I would play Reece, to be fair, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with both of you guys. So we're going to lock in Reece James. Left wing back, does the bad boy Marcos Alonso get another game, or is it same like PYS said, he does not see another minute in this season? We'll go with you this time, PYS. Marcos Alonso, any shout, or Ben Chilwell deserves it?
To be honest, when it comes to like left wing backs, I'd rather have Emerson than Alonso, if I'm being completely honest. But that's just me. I personally think he's the better wing back in terms of defensively and going forward. I mean, I just think Alonso's terrible, to be honest with you. But yeah, no, I would start Chilwell, to be fair, if he's fit and healthy. Because again, like Pulisic, he's actually been on really, really good form lately, and not a lot of people been talking about it. So I would go with Chilwell.
Yeah, I you know what, I've been a bit, critical about Chilwell. Literally, as soon as Tuchel took over, I was like, man, we're gonna see whether the 50 million we spent on Chilwell, is it going to be worth it? But over the last month or so, he has honestly worked his backside off, and now I have to say he's the number one left wing back for us. It's a very good shout, PYS, in terms of Emerson. I think Emerson would be a decent left wing back, but I think with Emerson, where I get a bit upset is his defensive qualities. He just falls asleep at times. Up front, yeah, fair enough. He's very, very entertaining. He's got the ability. But Conn, Marcos Alonso gets any opportunity with you?
Nah, it's Ben Chilwell for me, 100%. I do not want to see Riyad Mahrez versus Marcos Alonso.
But then again, bro, Riyad Mahrez has done Chilwell as well, man.
Yeah, but at least Chilwell's got legs.
Absolutely. No, we'll lock that in. Boys, I don't think this is really up for discussion. I think both of you guys have said it, that this is going to be Coutinho and Kante. These two players have a massive task in this particular game. KDB runs the midfield for Man City. Obviously, Fernandinho is going to be there. I don't know whether he starts or not. Then they've got Rodri. Then they've got players like Bernardo Silva that drop deep and help out in midfield as well. I'll go to you first up, Conn, Kante, Jorginho. Do you feel like this is going to be a very different game to Porto? Porto, obviously, they showcased how combative they can be. And obviously, Kante, the way he destroys play and then he counterattacks, very good. It's just he's the kind of player that, you love the fact that he counters, but his passing ability is not like, pinpoint to find those crisp passes. Jorginho, he can be fantastic, press resistant. He doesn't mind being pressured. He can wriggle out of those ways. But how do you feel about these two double sixes coming up against the star-studded midfield of Man City?
We don't have a choice.
We don't, man. We don't. But then again, Mason Mount. A lot of people have been saying Mace could play deep.
That's a hell of a risk against City. If this was Brighton, then I'd be like, you know what? I don't mind Mount starting there, and if it goes like to poo, bring on Jorginho or Kante. But against Man City, we can't be that naive, and we just can't do that. 'Cause it wouldn't be fair on Mount, to be honest, either. It's a big task. I know he's first tone he'll play anyway, but it wouldn't be fair on him at all.
No, I probably agree as well, man. I mean, you want Mount to have a few games in that position and build up to it, as opposed to, here you go, FA Cup semi-finals, lad, just go in there and try your best against Man City. I think that would be a bit unfair. PYS, is that how you feel as well, that we don't have any choice? We've got to believe that these two have to do the job. And as I said, it won't be the same as Porto. This will be totally, totally different, where City will ping the ball around.
Yeah, I mean, bar any massive shocks, I mean, those two will start. Very interested to see how they deal with De Bruyne, with Foden, with Gundogan, if they all play. So
Gundogan as well, man. I've completely forgot about him.
Obviously, they've got Champions League coming up like us, and different other games. So and obviously it's FA Cup. I'm not sure what Pep likes to do for that. Really, I don't really follow City, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. But I would imagine all three of those will play. So it's going to be a hell of a job for these two. But you know what? They've got to be up for it. And I'm hoping just Jorginho can have a big game masterclasses. Obviously, Porto and stuff, he was fantastic. And Kante can as well. So that these are two players that have proven before that they can deliver on the big stage. So this is another big stage. We're at Wembley. Go out and do your job and deliver it and give us a great chance of winning. No,
for sure, man. I mean, it is what it is. This is what we have. And I completely have faith in these two, honestly. Their performance against Porto was fantastic. Even though I've not always believed in this combination, I've kind of believed either it's Kante Kovacic or Jorginho Kovacic. Jorginho Kante, it is what it is. And, if they can do what they did against Porto, then hopefully we should be all right. I think this is where we're going to have a bit of a debate, boys, the front three. I'm going to go with you, PYS, first up on the right side. Who's your man for this match?
It's Mount without any debates, honestly. Like 100% Mount starts, one of our best attackers. So 100% he starts.
For me, man, look, how can you not have Mount starting? It's almost a sin at this stage. You have to have Mount starting. I don't think he had the best game against Porto, but then again, it doesn't really matter. He had a very good game in the first leg. Obviously, that crucial goal that kicked things off. But for me, it's all the stuff that he does, the off the ball stuff, pressing, work rate. Even up front, he's now banging in goals. He's getting into really, really decent spots around here. The only issue is when it's Reece James, because Reece doesn't take these sort of positions like Callum does. It kind of forces Mount to go either wide, or sometimes we've even seen Mount play on this side and a different player on that side. It may be this. It may actually be this. If we actually say that Pulisic might not play and Ziyech might play, it might just be Ziyech on this side and someone else up front, because Reece James doesn't take those high positions, because defensively he's more sort of concerned in making sure that the back line is right. So just a quick question before I go to Conn. PYS, would you want Mount on this side, or are you thinking about Mount on the left side?
Sorry, Miz, I didn't catch you there. You cut out a little bit.
Would you want Mount on the right side, or would you want Mount on the left side?
No, to be fair, I'd prefer Mount on the right for me.
Fair enough. Let's go to you, Conn, now. Conn, you did mention something about Hakim Ziyech having an opportunity here, but it's very difficult having Hakim play this match if Mount plays on the right. We know Ziyech wants to be on this side and having that inverted sort of ability with his left foot. Is Mace the one you go on the right side? Who's your right-sided player?
I'm still thinking about that, to be honest. I don't know if I'd play Mount on the left to give Chilwell a bit more defensive cover, and then play Hakim on the right, or to play Mount on the right and Werner on the left. I'm still stuck on which I would prefer.
Let me give you my perspective, and maybe that could give you something to think about. I was sort of telling PYS that since RJ doesn't take those high positions, we generally then see Mount trying to be a winger, and I don't like Mount being a winger. I like him to be in and around these pockets, the inside pockets. And I feel like Ziyech naturally wants to be wide. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't want to stay too much in these areas. He wants to start from here and then drift in, which is perfect because RJ doesn't like doing that. RJ doesn't take up such high positions. I mean, he does want to overlap every now and then, but I don't think against City he's going to be doing that many overlaps. It's probably going to be more.
I think I made up my mind. I think Ziyech definitely deserves to start more than Werner, so I'd start Ziyech on the right and Mount on the left.
Yeah. I would actually go with this and stick with this. But you were saying about Timo Werner. I would actually start Timo Werner up front here. Do you have something different on this one, Con?
I would start Kai up front.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Kai's obviously been very good. Are you worried at all that Kai's played quite a lot of minutes? Maybe deserves a bit of break here, and Timo obviously hasn't. And this is one where he could exploit their high line and try and get them behind their back with his speed.
See, in theory, yeah, but without cover, how many balls are we actually going to get in behind City? So I can imagine us like building up fairly slowly and being kind of patient. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll stick with Kai because we need that person who can link play up front. I don't think Timo Werner is going to quite cut it.
Yeah, I like that shout as well. And Kai, we know he's got the ability to drop somewhere here and really link up with the midfield, and that will allow Mason Mount and Ziyech to attack these areas. So I'm happy with that. But let's get PYS's view. PYS, it's 2-1, bro. Con and I, we've gone with Ziyech on the right side and Mace on the left side. We've provided our reasoning, so we trump you on that. But what do you think about the forward position? You sticking with Kai, giving Giroud an opportunity, or Werner, or is Tammy Abraham getting a chance with you?
Nah, to be honest with you, I'd just play the same front three that we've been playing. But I guess you guys want Ziyech. I'd probably rest Pulisic for Brighton and then play like Werner, Ziyech and Giroud or something like that. Just rotate against Brighton. For me, I think this is a must-win game. You know, if we win this, I think we probably win the cup. So I would still go with Pulisic, Havertz and Mount. Also, we've had enough rest. So I think that's what he will do as well. I mean, even in the press conference, he said, you know, other players have to fight for their spots. Like, you know, these three are like the ones on form at the moment. So I don't see him changing anything up, to be honest with you. I think.
Are you worried at all that maybe one more game for Pulisic would be detrimental?
No, because he said after the Porto game that he should be fine for the weekend. So I don't think. I mean, worst case scenario, I guess you could start Mount on the left and then bring Pulisic on, but. To be honest with you, if you're doing that, I'd rather start Pulisic and then bring someone on. You know, so.
Do you think if we do go with the Pulisic, let's change it up? I feel like if Tuchel sort of wants to keep the same front three, which makes sense what you're saying.
I think he will. I just don't see a world where he changes it. I really don't. I think he will keep the same front three.
Con will like this, bro. PYS, Con will like this. He loves this. But PYS, with Pulisic playing, you saw against Porto he was on the right side. Do you feel like that's going to happen again, or do you feel like this time he may just shift to the left side?
No, and this is another thing as well. I like him on the left because Cancelo, who plays at right back, said that Pulisic has been his toughest ever opponent. So, I mean, based off that alone, you really have to start Pulisic because I think he'll just tear Cancelo. I really do. I mean, if Cancelo already has that fear in his head, then, you know, it's a mental thing as well. So I think Pulisic starting, if he's fit and healthy, will be a really good thing for us because, you know, people saying he needs rest. Yeah, he does, but rest him against Brighton. Like, it's whatever game you want to prioritise, I think. I'm just trying to think from the manager's point of view, like, is he really gonna drop his most informed player in an FA Cup semi-final for Werner?
Very true, bro. Very true.
I don't see it, man. I really don't. So yeah.
No, I have to agree, bro. You've convinced me. I was sort of more thinking Pulisic's injury stuff, but you're right, bro. Yeah, go on.
The thing with that is, let's say we do start Pully. He plays like 60, 70 minutes. He goes off with a bit of a limp and he's out for 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh, we're dead, bro. We're dead.
Then if you look at our top 4, we still got to play Leicester and West Ham, and they're must-win games. So would you sacrifice or willing to
Con, how
put
many
up
games?
risk.
Con, how
this
many
game.
games has Pulisic played in a row? I can't remember. How many games has he played in a row now?
2.
Two. I mean, if we can't play 3 in a row, we might as well just bloody sell him because, like, what's the point?
Oh no,
Guys, he's our best player, bro. How can you say you might as well sell him?
Yeah, but you just said if he plays 67 minutes tomorrow and he goes off limp, he's out for 3 or 4 weeks. I don't care how good of a player you are. That just shows you're just way too injury prone to play for this club anyway. So, you know, he's got to be able to play 3-4 games in a row at least. Surely, like, come on, like, I don't know, man. Surely you can do that.
Con, I guess it is a good point in the sense that.
But if you look at the context of it, though, he got kicked away from the park at Porto. Like, he got battered and bruised. 11 fouls, most since Messi since, was it 2011 or 2012?
I know.
Yeah, since 2011.
He said himself he was fine. I think it's more the hamstring thing with him than ankles, to be honest. I think that's the problem he really has, is the hamstring. So,
man needs to do more yoga. But then that's the thing. Fatigue is a massive... Fatigue is like a massive reason for strains. And if Puli's body isn't still quite recovered yet from his last injury, his last tear, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I always want Pulisic to start, right? And I get exactly what Pius is saying. He's spot on there. Like, why would Tuchel want to change it? If he's fit to play, start him.
Especially when that 3 is working.
Yeah, and I want that front 3 all the time, but I'm just worried. Maybe it's just me being, I don't know,
you're that cautious dad, bro. You're that cautious dad looking after the son.
We don't want Pulisic to get injured. So, like, every time we see, a really good bit of form, we're almost like, oh my God, don't get injured now. So I see Conn's point of view where, you might want to rest him for this game and make sure he's fully fit for top 4 race. I 100% get that. But at the same time, like, he's a professional footballer, like, he's an athlete. Surely he can play 3 games in a row. I'm not saying play him more after this, maybe rest him against Brighton, but I just don't know if Tuchel I just don't see him changing it, man. Like, would I change it? Possibly, but for me, if you're in form, you have to start. So I think that's the way Tuchel sees it as well. Like, I don't know, especially with Werner as well. Like, it's not like I have another left-sided player that I really trust. I mean, maybe Mount can go there, but then again, on the right, then you have to play Ziyech, who I don't think is kind of like the sort of it. People have had doubts about his intensity, and like, this game is going to be very, very high intense. There's going to be a lot of pressure, a lot of off the ball movement. Does Ziyech really suit that? I don't know. It's a tough call, man. It really is.
Now, you know what, PYS, I'm starting to move more towards your side, and I'm pretty sure Conn would, like, as Conn said, he would always like to see Pulisic play. It's more the cautious, that injury sort of issue. But you're right, PYS. We can't be thinking like that. And I get the context because he's been injured. But now he's in good.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, Miss. But
go on.
It's just sad that we signed Timo Werner for 50 million and Hakim Ziyech for 34 million. 2 big players.
And they can't play.
And Tuchel, I think Pius is right. I think he will start Pulisic tomorrow. And he'll rather risk Pulisic than trusting one of those. That's a problem in itself, to be honest, isn't it? If you think about it.
But
it is.
I would trust Ziyech coming more than Werner. Like,
I agree.
I've said this all along. I think Werner, like, ever since the sort of like first few games I watched him, I thought this guy is just going to be a lost cause here. Like, I don't know his qualities. Like, he had so much space in the Bundesliga, and I've said it on so many podcasts and streams. Like, 80% of the teams in this league sit back. So Werner is only really useful against maybe 4 or 5 high-line teams. So and even then, you have a problem with his finishing. So, like, this guy just is incredibly frustrating, and I don't know where he sort of fits. Like, it's incredibly hard. But whereas with Ziyech, at least he comes in. At least he's a different option. At least he has a left foot. At least he cuts in and shoots. He's got ridiculous vision and passing. So I can make more of a case for Ziyech coming in. It's just with Ziyech, can he handle the intensity pitch against a team that is more high intense than us? Like, let's be fair. Like, can he do it? Yes, probably he can. But will Tuchel play him? No, I don't think so. I think he'll go with Mount. So I do have a case for Ziyech, but I don't think Tuchel does. That's the whole point. Whenever I do my predicted lineups, I try and think, what is the manager going to do? Because that makes the most me, you know. I always try and unpick the manager's brain, like, you know, so that's how I think anyway.
No, man, me too, man. I mean, what's the point of doing a lineup where you know it's unrealistic and the manager's gone, no way he's going to do that? Like, let's say, I don't know, you know, argument's sake, Tammy Abraham up front. You know Thomas Tuchel's not going to do that. You just very well know Thomas Tuchel's not going to put Tammy Abraham up front. But going back to the whole point about Timo Werner, I said it, boys, that I'm worried. Like, if this particular player next season doesn't put away the chances that he got this season, I'm very, very worried. And I know I've read quite a lot of reports that Thomas Tuchel still believes in this player, still wants to get the best out of him, really, really likes him. And let's be honest, he's had a lot of goal contribution, yes, but his stats should have been unbelievable because of all the chances he's had. But completely understand what you're saying, PY, is that you can probably make an argument for Ziyech maybe starting, but for Werner, the only argument I had for Werner starting, honestly, it's because of Pulisic. I was just worried that can he play another game with high intensity after that epic match against Porto? But now you've completely sold me, PY, is that no, you're playing for Chelsea Football Club. You're going to have to play 3-4 games in a row at times. And I get that, Conn, when you said about the context, which makes sense. But, you know, if I'm thinking from a Thomas Tuchel point of view and going back to this drawing board here, I'd probably start with this as well. I've said it, Pulisic, Kai, and Mason Mount, predominantly, they are our best front three across most scenarios. Yes, you're going to have the odd scenario, as PYS and Connor said. Very few play up, you know, the high line, and then you would probably use Timo Werner, a mix-up of Ziyech. As much as I love Ziyech and I want him to come back into this team. But, ladies and gentlemen, you need to realize that this is due to the formation that we have right now, and it could all change next season where we will have another added attacker. If we switch back to the 4 at the back and go with a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1, we will have an added attacker, which will then see another attacker come in. So, yeah, I'm happy to lock this in. Boys, what's your final thoughts? I'll go to you, Conn. Conn, you happy with this or you're still worried about Pulisic? Conn, you there?
Sorry, I was on mute. My bad. I'm always worried about Pulisic, Miz. If he's not playing, he should be playing in my eyes, and when he is playing, he shouldn't be playing so I don't get injured. So, you know, I'm never happy with Pulisic. But no, I think Pies really could sell ice to Eskimos at times. I'm kind of leaning towards the Pulisic side as well. It makes sense. Risky, but it's Man City. We win this, we're more than likely getting a trophy this season. So, yeah, starting.
Yeah. Now, that's the point that sold me, because PY said, you win this, then you really need to beat either Southampton or Leicester. So we really should be doing that. PYS, what's your thoughts about this particular team and your score prediction?
I think the team is what he will go with. The only other change I could see happening is if he does decide to rest Pulisic, then I think Hudson-Odoi should come into the front three. Just because I think on the left he's very, very good. I can see that potentially happening. But then again, there's also the debate of Werner. So I mean, it can go on and on what Tuchel will do. But yeah, that lineup is what I think he will pick. And score prediction, I really, really don't like doing these. Thing is, I want to say 2-1, but then again, are we really gonna, concede only one to City? I don't know, man. Like,
I hope we don't score more than. I hope we don't concede more than one, because it's going to be difficult.
I'll go for 2-1 to Chelsea, but I don't want to say what I really think.
Fair enough. The beautiful game, 2-1. His prediction. Thank you so much for that, Conn. What's your score prediction, my man?
Do you know what? I genuinely believe we can win this 1-0.
That's my score as well. I think we can keep a clean sheet.
Yeah, with City, they create a hell of a lot, but they're really not efficient. Against United, 20+ shots. Against Leeds, 20+ shots. Against Borussia Dortmund in both ties, over 30 shots. And in the second tie, they scored a Foden, good goal, but keeper should have saved it, and a penalty. So for as good as they are, they're really not that efficient. So we do need that bit of luck, and hopefully they don't start banging in the goals. But I generally feel like with how annoying we can just be to play against, I generally feel like we can do a 1-0. If it's not a 1-0, then I think it's like a 3-1 to City.
Oh, bro. That's ruthless. Look, I have a very, very strong feeling we can keep them. I feel like our defense is good. Forget about that West Brom. Honestly, I don't want to hear about that West Brom. I think we can keep them at bay and we can sneak a 1-0. Because honestly, boys, I don't see us being clinical up front. It's not like we're balling out there. The Palace game doesn't happen every day of the week. I need to see more of that for me to say that, yep, we've finally overcome all our attacking issues. Against Porto, we should have won. There was 2 chances at least, and we didn't put it away. So, and then at the end, we ended up losing to an absolute screamer. So 1-0 is something that I'm predicting as well. Any of you boys thinking, well, by the way, what happens if it's 0-0? Does it go to penalties or extra time?
Extra time.
Extra time. And if you guys have an inkling that it could go to extra time and maybe into the penalties?
I was thinking that. I feel like it could be like a copycat of the final League Cup.
If it goes, then just make sure we have Caballero on the bench this time. Like, oh my god! No, I'm being serious because, like, even though I love Mendy, his penalty record is atrocious. Like, he has like 1 out of 20 pens saved or something atrocious like that.
But the man doesn't even dive. Like, he doesn't think.
Like, this is the thing. I can't remember who I was debating with the other day. I think it was like Lawrence. I was on his stream and he was like, if we get to the Champions League final, would you sub Mendy out for Caballero? And I was like, yes, obviously.
Yes.
Like, 100%, like, it sounds stupid. Like, it sounds stupid because Caballero does not play at all. But I'm still convinced that's the one reason we signed him mainly as like the third choice backup. He's so good at penalties. Like, he becomes like an extra animal. Like,
but do you think Peter Cech's talking to this lad and saying, bro, you need to do better in penalties? You're shocking.
I hope so. Yeah, I do love Mendy though. Like, it's not getting twisted, but in terms of penalties, if it goes penalty shootout and Caballero's not on, I'll be a bit worried. Like, I don't know. Someone said Kepa's better at penalties. Like, definitely 100% not. Like, Super Cup final, he fumbled like 2 or 3. The Carabao Cup final, he fumbled 2.
But what about the Europa Cup, bro? Europa League.
That's the only thing he gets a show on. But there's like 2 other occasions.
Tottenham.
Tottenham. Yeah.
I don't know. I still trust Caballero more, to be honest. I don't trust Kepa in anything. And I know Conn sometimes like to back Kepa a bit, but I don't.
Bro, remember those days when Conn was doing props on Kepa?
Bro, he's still got it in his veins. I still feel it when he's talking.
Conn, what are you gonna do if it ends up being going to extra time and into the penalties? 100% you're taking Mendy off, right? Tell me you're taking Mendy off.
And do some sort of Silicon and Krul in the World Cup kind of vibe. No, I back Mendy. Like, Cech ain't one to talk. He didn't save many pens in the Premier League. I know he got us in the Champions League, but in the Premier League, he saved like 1, I think, didn't he? So,
yeah, I think he did. Yeah. You're right.
Mendy's big. Just dive one way, lad, and just put your body the whole entire side of the other side of the goal, and it's 50-50 then, isn't it?
Nah, absolutely. Boys, honestly, it's been absolutely entertaining. Live chat, I hope you've enjoyed this preview. We've pretty much covered everything, the press conference, opposition look, lineup. Just before we go, this is the lineup. That's the YouTube channel that's going on. This is the lineup that we've come up with the lads. Mendy, Rudiger, Silva, Azpilicueta, Reece James, Chilwell, Jorginho, Kante, Pulisic, Kai, Havertz, and Mount. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments. Honestly, thank you heaps, each and every one of you guys, to come in and give us a support. Please smash the like button. There was at least 180 people on at one stage. We've got 163 right now. Smash that like button. Get it to at least 100 plus likes right away, guys. Take the opportunity to hit the like button right away. Helps the channel out, helps the viewer. I just want to shout out as well, and I'm so happy I've got the boys here. I've just hit 4,000 subscribers during this stream. I was about 15 away, so I've just hit 4,000 subscribers. So thank you heaps for that. At the moment, it's 4,007 subscribers. So thank you heaps for that, guys. Conn and PYS, honestly, massive help from you guys to drive this particular channel. Before I let you guys go, Conn, any final thoughts, my man?
Yeah, I picked up on you hit 4K. I was going to say it now, like, oh, congrats, but you beat me to it. But always a pleasure, Miz. I love talking football with people, and talking with you and Pies. It's always nice, even if he does irritate me with some of his opinions about Pulisic.
He's good though. Like, he brings up some good points. That's why I like Pies. Pies, any final thoughts, my man?
Yeah, mate. It's been a great stream. Honestly, I'm doing another one with Lawrence later. So if any of you guys from here like Lawrence, and go and check him out as well. I'll be on there, his channel in a bit. So
what time, bro? Give us the time so the people know.
It's at 5 p.m. UK time. So if you want to come join us, then I'll be doing another sort of talk ahead of Man City. But yeah, just congrats, Miz, on 4,000. You're doing a great job, and yeah, man, just a great stream. Honestly, a really nice guy. So yeah, anytime you want me on, and just hit me up, and always nice to speak to Conn as well, someone who I've known for a while on Twitter. So yeah, man, I'm just excited for tomorrow. Yeah, I'm gassed and scared at the same time. Don't get me wrong, I'm still scared. I'm still scared.
You get us all gassed, and then you get us all scared. You're crazy like that, bro.
I'm like that middle guy. Like I can see both points. I can see me celebrating like mad tomorrow, and then I can also just see me like posting all like sad memes and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know which way I want to go to. I'm just like, I don't know, like, I'm just on edge. You know what I mean?
My man, just chill out for a moment. Get ready for that game. Get yourself some drinks or something. Cool down, because you scared the crap out of me, honestly, midway through when you started talking about Mahrez, and I was like, oh, holy crap, man! I'm a bit scared now. But then you gassed me up again, so it's crazy the way you do all of that. But yeah, thank you to both of you guys for giving us the time. Live chat, thank you heaps once again for all the support. Do check us out for tomorrow, straight after the game. The review will be there. I have my review team ready. So do come back for that. And yeah, guys, until next time, thank you heaps for the 4,000 subscribers. See ya.